comments that they made about same-sex parenting. What did you think when you heard that?
Very unfortunate.
Yeah.
Very unfortunate. Unbelievable.
Ignorant.
Ignorant.
I would say the word ignorant.
For over 2 decades, Portia de Rossi and Ellen DeGeneres stood side by side, seemingly unshaken by time or fame. But in early 2025, everything changed. Without warning or explanation, news of their quiet divorce sent shockwaves through fans and followers. What really happened behind closed doors, and why has the public never heard the truth? Join us as we uncover shocking details that changes everything. At just 15 years old, Portia made a life-changing decision, one she couldn't fully grasp at the time. She chose to reinvent herself, starting with her name. Taking Portia from a character in Shakespeare's play, she added the Italian surname De Rossi, seeking to escape the shadows of her painful past. It was like shedding an old skin to emerge as someone new. While others may not have understood her bold choice, for her, it was far more than a mere name change. It was a fresh start. Her acting journey began with a small role in the Australian film Sirens, but it wasn't until she moved to Los Angeles that her career began to truly take flight. Still, the path wasn't without challenges. Finding roles was tough, and she worked tirelessly to erase her Australian accent, hoping it would help her blend in better with the Hollywood crowd. The big break came in 1998 when Portia scored the role of Nell Porter on Ally McBeal, a moment that thrust her into the spotlight. It was a game changer, but with fame came a heavy price. Beneath the glitz and glamour, Portia carried a secret that was far heavier than any script: the crippling fear of being outed as a lesbian. In an industry known for its rigid standards, she dreaded the backlash that might come if she dared to live authentically and be open about her true self. It wasn't until 2004, when Portia met Ellen DeGeneres, that she began to see a way out of the darkness that had haunted her. Ellen, already an iconic figure in the LGBTQ+ community, brought a sense of peace that Portia had never experienced before. By 2005, Portia found the courage to open up. In interviews with Details and The Advocate, she spoke honestly about her relationship with Ellen and the fears that had weighed on her for so long. It was as if a heavy burden had been lifted from her shoulders. In 2008, they married in a small, intimate ceremony in Beverly Hills, surrounded by their closest loved ones. For Portia, it was like stepping into the light after years of living in the shadows. Even as her love life blossomed, Portia's battle with body image and eating disorders remained a constant shadow. While working on Ally McBeal, she fought against both anorexia and bulimia, struggles that left emotional scars that ran deep. Determined to make a difference, she wanted to share her story to help others facing similar battles. The path to healing wasn't easy, but Portia found solace and strength in her relationship with Ellen, as well as in her newfound ability to be open and honest about her struggles. In 2018, Portia shocked many by announcing her decision to retire from acting. After years of constant reinvention, stepping away from the spotlight felt almost unthinkable. Yet, she knew deep down it was the right move. Away from the cameras, Portia found peace in her relationship with Ellen and their shared love for animal rights. Together, they became passionate advocates, supporting numerous charities and causes. These endeavors gave her a sense of purpose that went far beyond the glitz and glamour of Hollywood. Like so many women in the industry, Portia wasn't untouched by the darker side of fame. In 2017, she bravely revealed a horrifying incident from years before during an audition. Actor Steven Seagal had exposed himself to her. It was a moment that left Portia feeling vulnerable and powerless. Yet she refused to stay silent. By sharing her experience, she hoped to empower other women to speak out too. And through it all, there was Ellen, her wife, her rock, her constant. Their love story wasn't just about two people finding one another, it was about Portia finally finding herself. "I didn't know it could be this easy to love someone," Portia said, reflecting on her relationship with Ellen. After years of fear, self-doubt, and transformation, she had finally arrived at a place where she could simply be herself. Portia de Rossi had finally found the person who truly fit her. After a lifetime of reinventing herself, she had arrived at a place where she could be real, with Ellen by her side. But Ellen's journey had been far from easy. In 1973, her world was shattered when her parents separated, and by the next year, they were divorced. Her once stable life fractured, leaving her to pick up the pieces. Ellen and her mother Betty moved to a small town in Texas, hoping for a fresh start. But instead, it only deepened her pain. What should have been a new beginning quickly turned into a nightmare. Roy, the man who should have been her protector, became a predator. He took advantage of Ellen's vulnerability, using her mother's battle with breast cancer as an excuse to violate her. He claimed he needed to check for lumps, but Ellen wasn't fooled. One night, his advances became unbearable. He tried to force his way into her room. "I couldn't breathe. I had to get out," she recalled. That night, Ellen fled, spending hours in a hospital to escape his grasp. But the trauma didn't end there. For years, Ellen carried the weight of her secret, trapped in a silence that crushed her from the inside. When she finally found the strength to confide in her mother, the response shattered her even more. Betty didn't believe her. Despite the pain, Betty stayed with Roy for 18 agonizing years, leaving Ellen to bear the emotional scars alone. Despite the chaos at home, Ellen pressed on. In 1981, she landed a gig as the MC at Clyde's Comedy Club, and just 3 years later, she was named Showtime's funniest person in America. It was my way of surviving, she reflected on those early days in comedy. Laughter didn't come easily. It became her shield, a way to mask the pain and bond with others. Ellen's rise in comedy was steady, but the scars from her past never fully healed. She threw herself into her work, hoping to outrun the hurt. Ellen's big break came with the sitcom Ellen. In 1997, both she and her character came out as lesbians, making television history. But the world wasn't quite ready for it. While some cheered, others lashed out, and soon after, her show was canceled. It was a devastating blow, but Ellen refused to back down. In 2001, she returned to TV with The Ellen Show, though it too didn't last. Rumors swirled, and even when she found success with The Ellen DeGeneres Show, whispers followed her. Behind her bright, cheerful persona, some claimed, was a much darker side. Former writers accused her of not being as kind as she seemed on screen. The allegations cast a long shadow over her career, leaving many to question whether the woman who danced with her audience every day was hiding more than just pain. Despite the challenges, Ellen's career continued to thrive. She carved out her place as a talk show host, winning millions over with her warmth and humor. The Ellen DeGeneres Show became an American television staple, with unforgettable moments, like flying her high school classmates to a reunion on the show. "I never forgot where I came from," she'd often say, even as her fame soared. But after years of being celebrated as the nice one, Ellen began to feel trapped by the very image that had made her a star. A 2018 New York Times article revealed that she was struggling, suffocated by the persona the world expected her to uphold. Ellen built a thriving lifestyle brand, championed animal rights, and made generous donations to causes that meant the most to her. But no career is without its shadows. In 2020, allegations surfaced of a toxic work environment on her show, triggering an internal investigation and the exit of several key executives. Ellen took responsibility, voicing her disappointment and pledging to make amends. "I'm not perfect," she admitted, "but I'm trying." In July 2024, Ellen shocked the world by announcing her retirement from show business. "This is the last time you're going to see me," she said. And just like that, an era quietly came to an end. Ellen, who had spent decades making people laugh, was stepping away from the limelight for good. It felt like the conclusion of a long story, but in reality, her journey held entire chapters no one saw coming. Ellen's financial success over the years was nothing short of extraordinary. In 2020, Forbes estimated her earnings at an eye-popping $84 million, placing her as the 12th highest-paid entertainer globally. She was a powerhouse, with a net worth of $370 million. In 2015, she had even been ranked as the 50th most powerful woman in the world, and she also claimed the second spot on the World Pride Power list. On paper, it seemed like she had it all, but numbers only tell part of the story. Behind the awards, the fame, and the fortune, there was always much more to Ellen's journey. After her divorce, Portia de Rossi finally broke her silence, sharing her deep emotions and personal struggles. She revealed that she first met Ellen in 2000 at a Hollywood event. Ellen, already a well-known comedian and talk show host, had earned respect for being openly gay in a world that wasn't always kind. At the time, Portia was a rising actress, still hiding her sexuality and terrified of what coming out might do to her career. When they met, something sparked between them, a connection, a moment. But Portia wasn't ready to act on it, not yet. They exchanged polite words, and life moved on. It would be years before they crossed paths again. This time, both were single, and whatever had been left unspoken before became impossible to ignore. In 2004, they began dating quietly, keeping their relationship a secret while Portia was still coming to terms with living openly. Ellen, who had already embraced her truth, became the anchor Portia needed, helping her navigate that difficult journey. "I had walls up," Portia later admitted. "Ellen was the first person who made me feel safe enough to let them down." But life isn't always as perfect as it appears from the outside. Beneath the smiles and shared moments of happiness, there were hidden struggles. As Ellen's career continued to soar, so did the pressures that came with it. The unrelenting demands of her public life began to take a toll on their marriage. By 2014, rumors started to swirl that they were facing difficulties. The constant scrutiny and the pressure to always be on slowly wore them down. Portia, on her side, was fighting her own battles. She had long struggled with eating disorders, and living in Ellen's shadow only made things harder. She yearned to carve out her own identity, but standing next to someone as famous as Ellen wasn't easy. The weight of Ellen's career, the constant attention, and the non-stop work schedule became overwhelming. Ellen DeGeneres and Portia de Rossi's relationship was one that captured the public's imagination from the very start. When the two first appeared together, they instantly became Hollywood's golden couple, an iconic duo admired for their love and success. Ellen, a pioneer in daytime television with her hit talk show, The Ellen DeGeneres Show, and Portia, a talented actress with memorable roles in Arrested Development and Scandal, seemed like the perfect match. Their chemistry was undeniable, and the media couldn't get enough of them. The pair's relationship wasn't just a personal matter, it was a public event. Their wedding in 2008, held in the midst of a changing political climate for same-sex marriage, was a watershed moment for LGBTQ+ visibility in the entertainment industry. Same-sex marriage was still a contentious issue in the United States, and their union, broadcast and celebrated, represented a major victory for the LGBTQ+ community. At that time, there were few openly gay or lesbian celebrity couples in Hollywood, making Ellen and Portia's public commitment a beacon of hope for many. Their romance seemed like a modern-day fairy tale, two women, against the odds, finding love in the spotlight. The public saw them as the epitome of a fairy tale romance, glamorous, talented, and deeply in love. Everywhere they went, from red carpet events to vacations, they were photographed smiling, holding hands, and radiating happiness. Their posts on social media showcased a deeply connected, loving couple. They seemed to have it all: love, fame, and fortune. In many ways, the world saw Ellen and Portia as role models for how an out-celebrity couple could navigate the challenges of the public eye. They were portrayed as having it all together. Ellen, known for her charm and infectious humor, and Portia, admired for her beauty and acting talent, looked like the perfect match. They were both powerhouses in their respective careers, yet their love appeared to ground them. But even amidst this glowing image, cracks began to appear, albeit subtly at first. As much as their relationship was adored by fans, it was under constant scrutiny. The public, obsessed with their fairy tale, began to question the authenticity of what they saw. Could a relationship so highly publicized really be as perfect as it seemed? Could two high-profile celebrities, both with demanding careers, balance their relationship with the pressure of constant media attention? The truth, however, was that even in the most perfect-seeming relationships, complications arise. As time went on, the intense glare of fame and the expectation to maintain an ideal public image began to take its toll. Though it was never overtly discussed, the whispers started. Was the pressure of living in the public eye causing friction between Ellen and Portia? Was their relationship really the picture-perfect fairy tale it seemed, or were they struggling in ways that fans didn't see? With such a private relationship, fans and the media began to ask more questions than ever. Was the real story something entirely different from the idealized version the public adored? While Ellen and Portia were constantly in the limelight, there was a darker side to their marriage that began to surface in whispers. Their relationship, which had once seemed unshakable, was now being put under a microscope, with rumors circulating that things weren't as idyllic as the public believed. For years, they had been celebrated as the perfect couple, but with the passing of time, cracks began to form in that glossy exterior. The first signs of trouble emerged when Ellen's public persona began to take a hit. As the host of The Ellen DeGeneres Show, Ellen had long been one of the most beloved figures in Hollywood. However, in 2020, her reputation took a significant hit due to allegations of a toxic workplace culture. Former employees came forward with claims of mistreatment and hostility behind the scenes, which was a stark contrast to Ellen's warm, funny, and kind persona on television. This scandal made waves and forced Ellen to address the accusations publicly, apologizing for the missteps on her show. But the ripple effects of these allegations went beyond the workplace. The media quickly began to question whether Ellen's alleged behavior had a negative impact on her personal life. If she was facing accusations of being difficult and creating a toxic work environment, how might that have affected her relationship with Portia? The public began to speculate that the pressure of Ellen's career and the fallout from the controversy could have led to tension between the couple. This period of public scrutiny brought even more attention to their private life. The media began to dissect every move they made, wondering if their bond was as strong as it appeared. The whispers grew louder. Was Ellen's work environment affecting their home life? Were there more serious issues in their marriage that the public didn't know about? How could their love story remain unscathed in the face of such controversy? Portia, ever the enigma, continued to stay largely silent throughout the media storm. She rarely spoke on the matter, which only fueled speculation. Was she silently enduring the weight of these accusations, or was she simply trying to maintain privacy amidst the chaos? The silence became deafening, and fans were left wondering if there was more to their story than they had been led to believe. It was clear that the couple had been through difficult times. The pressure of fame, coupled with the strains of dealing with constant public scrutiny, had undoubtedly affected their relationship. But did Portia's silence speak to a deeper, more painful truth? Was there more to their marriage's struggles than anyone knew? As the rumors continued to swirl, the media and fans alike were desperate for answers. Yet Portia remained steadfastly quiet, leaving the world to wonder what was really happening behind closed doors. In the end, they couldn't save their marriage. After years of effort, they were forced to face a hard truth. Their once strong love wasn't enough to keep them together anymore. They still cared deeply for each other. There was no doubt about that. But sometimes, care isn't enough. Sometimes love can't conquer all the challenges life throws your way. "We tried," Portia said quietly after the divorce, "but some things are too broken to fix." Their love story, which once felt like a fairy tale, didn't end with fireworks, but with a quiet, heartfelt goodbye. They will always carry the memories, the laughter, and those precious moments of joy. And so, after years of trying to make it work, Ellen and Portia chose to go their separate ways. Their story closed with the same quiet grace that had defined much of their time together. They had loved deeply, but sometimes, even the strongest love isn't enough. Personal battles and external pressures can push even the most enduring relationships to their limits. Portia and Ellen shared countless joyful moments, love, and support. But some wounds just don't heal completely. Sometimes the best way to find healing is simply to walk away. What do you think about Portia and Ellen's story? Have you ever experienced a love that changed you and challenged you? Share your thoughts in the comments, and if you liked the video, don't forget to like and subscribe for further updates.